we will turn to Senator Graham, who I said at the outset when he was not here has been such an important figure in the bipartisan conversations that we've had on immigration over many years. Senator Graham.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a really good topic. Let's see if we can find some common ground to the panel. How many of you believe that the southern border is secure? How many of you believe it's not secure? 4 out of 5? What about you, Mr. Hire?
I don't know enough about how that would be defined to pass judgment on.
Well, we've had over 5 million people come in illegally. So anyway, I think it's unsecure, and we need to make it secure. Now let's talk about immigration. What percentage of agricultural workers, the people go harvest the crops and do all the agricultural stuff, are undocumented illegal immigrants? Does anybody know?
50%.
Okay. Does anybody doubt what he said? All right. If those 50% went away tomorrow, what would happen?
A lot of farms would go bankrupt. There would be a massive shift in trade practices, so we'd start importing a lot more food from abroad.
Anybody disagree with that? Yeah, please.
Farm labor is unique in its reliance on immigration, but if you look at all the other sectors of the economy, types of occupations,
Well, let's just stick with farm labor right now. Do you agree that, I think it's closer to 70%, do you agree that a substantial percentage of people in the agricultural business, workers in the field, are undocumented illegal immigrants?
They're certainly immigrants, and probably a lot of them are illegal.
Yeah, so I guess here's my point. That's just one industry. There are a bunch of others. Meat packing. Have you ever been into a meat packing plant? Has anybody ever been to a meat packing plant? You ought to go. I don't think you'll stay. Most people working in a meat packing plant are immigrants. My point is, let's make this a win-win. Let's stop illegal immigration. Let's go to merit-based immigration. You agree with that, Mr. Rector?
I think that the problem is, the issue here that I would state is, we used to have this rhetoric that there are jobs that Americans won't do, and you've isolated 2 of them. That is
well, do you believe there are jobs American won't do, or is that just rhetoric?
I think the 2 that you isolated that's probably about right. But all the other jobs that Americans allegedly won't do, more than half the workers are actually U.S.-born citizens, and the wages in those industries have remained basically flat for decades.
Because people are paying illegal immigrants under the table.
Partly. It's also, we always talk about these labor shortages, but if you look at the below median income in the United States, it really hasn't gone up in constant dollars for decades. That is not an indication of a chronic labor shortage.
Well, if you have a business, you're having a hard time getting workers. Restaurants. Every restaurant in South Carolina's #1 issue, I can't find people to work. Part of it's we paid people too much not to work. And the other part is people sort of moved on in the economy. Mr. Hire, you're the H-1B advocate here?
I'm not sure I would call myself an advocate.
Do you want more H-1B visas? Or
No.
you want less?
I've argued for a better system. Right now, just to give you an example, we had 750,000 applications submitted for 85,000 slots this year. And instead of picking the best of that 750,000, picking the 85,000 top ones, they chose to pick them randomly, by random.
I am with you.
That doesn't make any sense. It's irrational.
Okay, do you think we should have more visas available in this space?
No, not under the current system. It has to be reformed.
Well, let's say you reform the system.
Well, it's a hypothetical. It depends on what,
Do we have enough?
could we do it better? Yes, we
What,
could do it
my
better.
question is, are we generating enough workers in our own country to fill these jobs?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, why do we need a visa program?
We don't need one as it's currently constructed.
Well, are you arguing that we don't need an H-1 visa program at all?
I think we should favor immigration over guest worker programs. I think we've ended up
Well,
relying on guest worker programs.
I don't mean to
If we
belabor
need
the point.
workers,
I'm asking you a fairly simple question. In this space, employers tell me that without immigration, they'd have a hard time filling the workforce. Because people are not graduating in our colleges with the skill sets at the levels necessary. Is that a false statement they're giving me?
I think it's a misleading one, yeah. If we
Okay.
want to look at whether there's a shortage in STEM, and you can look at even in software development, what would you look at? We have a market. You look at the price, the wages, and wages
Yeah.
have been flat. They haven't gone up. So there isn't any shortage.
Mr. Byer, do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with it at all. Unemployment in software development is below 2%. We've seen massive increases in the number of U.S.-born workers, 150% increase since 2006 in the U.S.-born software developer worker population in the United States. So there hasn't been any displacement. There's no
So-
unemployment. The numbers are going up. There's just not enough workers to go around for
I'll
these.
end on this, and thank you for indulging me. I've been following this for decades. We don't have a rational legal immigration system. Our population is declining. It is not growing. If you know anything about the American economy, the number one problem most employers have is finding reliable workers. If you deported all illegal immigrants in the agricultural space, we'd all starve. That doesn't justify illegal immigration. It means we need to reform the system to make it a win-win. When it comes to the H-1B world, I am convinced our education system's not producing enough in this area, and you need immigration to fill in the gap, but it needs to be what Dr. Heyer says, rational and merit-based. So you'll never convince me that our immigration system is working, because it's not. And the problem is that we need to bring people into our country, Mr. Chairman, from all over this world based on merit. And if we don't get a hold of this, the population decline, the number of people affected by drugs and inability to work is going up. We have a recruiting problem in the military because most people of a military service age are not able to serve. So to deny that immigration is not going to be the lifeblood of the future economy is a mistake. To say the current system works is an equal mistake. Thank you for having this hearing.